emotes if you want and stuff like that. Okay, so just participate. Okay, good. All right, I need to start out the YouTube thing. So yeah. Okay. So, let's see. Okay. Welcome, guys, to another card review for Whispers of the Old Gods, the 3rd edition. This is up to March 30th, and there are some new cards that we are excited to, kind of judge its early first impression. Of course, we are going to use the Amaz scoring scale, which abbreviates as ASS, and this is the scale. We have a 0 to 10 for both constructed and arena, and of course constructed is going to be based on standard, and wild is going to be based on arena. Basically arena is wild, right? So you have the Failfish all the way up to the Craigasm, and that's a card. Yeah, so we'll see which cards fall into which categories. Just basically, like, 10 is like super playable and include in every single deck. 5 is alright and stuff like that. And we have subscribers doing this as well, but thank you very much. And yeah, let's jump right in and see what we have to. What the heck is that black box doing? Alright, let's get that out of my face. Okay, good. No more black box. Alright, so yeah, once again, scores are only based on the cards and info we know so far. First card we have up is the Cult Apothecary. It's a 5-mana 4/4 battle cry. For each enemy minion, you restore 2 health to your hero. And it's obviously based on, once again, it's based on the heal bot, right? Heal bot's going to be removed. So this is kind of your heal bot replacement. If your opponent has 4 minions, then you kind of get a better deal. You kind of restoring 8 health to your hero. But like, Healbot is a 5-mana 3/3, right? But it always works. So for this to be good, you kind of want to reliably trigger on 3 minions. So it's a 5-mana 4 to restore 6 health to your hero, right? Anything less, it's kind of like not that good. Anything more would be like a little bit more value, right? Another card to compare to is Priest of Elune, especially in Arena. The Priestess of Elune is a 6-mana 5/4. That restores 4 health no matter what, right? So you can already see that, like, it needs to hit 2 creatures for it to be like, meh, fine, right? Like Priestess of Elune quality, which is bad. If it hits 3 minions, it's like par. And if it hits more than 3 minions, then it's really good. In constructed, I think it's gonna be okay. I mean, heal mod effects are gonna be good, right? Like Reno Lock and whatnot. So like healing effects, we know are just more flexible for some classes. You can abuse it in some classes more than others. For example, like even like Paladin, right? Even in Murloc Paladin, you want to heal yourself as much as possible. You kind of want to stall the game out. And yeah, it's not really realistically too hard to hit 2 minions. 2 minions is kind of like getting back your value. And against Zoo, you just heal for like 14, which is kind of insane. So it's okay. It's not bad. Not too insane, I would say. In Arena, it's also fine. That means a 5-mana 4/4 restoring health to yourself. It's not insane. There are like much better 5-drops out there. Your Belcher might be better because it actually has Taunt. Taunt is kind of healing anyways. But like, it's better than some other stuff. So I would be okay with this. It's 4, it's not that high, it's not that low. It's a healing card. What can you do? Alright, next up we have the Nightmare Dragon. At the start of your turn, double this minion's attack. Oh my god, it's a 6-mana 2/8. So what do? You play this as a 6-mana card as a 2/8. Your opponent has to, kind of look at a 2/8, and when it's back on your turn, you get to attack with a 4/8, right? If it lives any more past that, then it could be an 8/8, and then there's going to be a 16/8, and then a 32/8. It kind of snowballs quite fast, right? What's more interesting is that if you can buff it on the same turn you play it, the double effect is even better, right? For example, like the most obvious example would be play Nightmare Dragon, play Blessing of Might or something like that, because that's like the most simple card, right? It's gonna be a 5/8, and then on your turn it's gonna be a 10/8, right? That's pretty cool to swing in with a 10/8. But once again, it does require 2 cards, which is kind of like inconsistent and whatnot, right? So in constructed, I'm gonna give it a pretty low rating. I think it's a little bit too gimmicky, where you can just play something a 6-drop that's actually like a more decent. Like the saving grace is that it does have 8 health, and 8 health is kind of hard to remove in constructed. Obviously, you don't want to play this against a priest because you get Cabal Shadow Priested. But if you are playing this, I imagine it's going to be something to combo along with this card. So, for example, you play this and buff it the same turn with, like, I don't know, just buff it somehow, like Bless of Might or Cold Blood or whatnot, or even like Conceal It, right? You can conceal it and make this effect. But it's a little bit too gimmicky for my taste. I think this can be a 3 out of 10. In Arena, oh my god, much, much better. Wow, it's actually a win condition. In Arena, you play this card and your opponent doesn't deal with it, they die. Because the thing is, like, there's a lot of minion combat in Arena as well, right? So if your other minions can protect your Nightmare Dragon, then it's just Steamwheel. It's just, I don't want to say Steamwheel out of control. No, it's just Steamwheel is out of control, right? And the fact that you can also play this on an empty board, and your opponent plays, like, I don't know, something, and then you just, like, kill it with, like, Deadly Shot or something, and then swing in, and every turn they don't deal with this minion, you just keep on swinging it. It's pretty nice. So I think this is actually a very good card, a good win condition. And of course, you don't see too much removal in Arena too much, and it's 8 health. 8 health is really chunky in Arena, so I think this is gonna be a good card in Arena. I would draft it. Next up, we have a legendary. Mukla has been corrupted. Oh my god, look at all these weird eels on him. Like he's wearing the eels, and he has only 1 eyeball left. Oh god. So you have to double the mana cost of the original Mukla. So it's going from 3 mana to 6 mana. Same stats, it's still a beast, but the battle cards add 2 bananas to your hand instead of your opponent. So not only is your opponent getting 2 less bananas, you're getting 2 more bananas. Which is cool. You have some synergy that immediately pops up to mind. You have the Gedison Auctioneer, of course. 1 mana bananas. Cycle very well with Gedison. You also have the twins. You know, we got Fijola and we got Edis. If you can feed the girls the bananas, they actually do a lot of cool stuff. So those are some synergies, right? Unfortunately, you're paying a 6 mana 5/5 for this effect. And if you compare it to like Emperor or Sylvanas, or even Karen, for example, like, which text would you rather have? Would you rather have Death Rattle steal a creature, for enemy creature? Would you rather have make everything in your hand cost 1 less, or would you want 2 bananas? Like, if you compare it that way, it's kind of sucky, right? In Constructed, you get to actually choose what you want, and when Mukla is paired up against those cards, it really kind of falls behind. I can't even see this being run in like a combo deck or whatnot. Like, it's just not good enough. You would rather play like a Mechanical Yeti for spare parts, or even like a Clockwork Gnome for spare parts, right? The bananas at the end of the day is a 1 mana card, and 1 mana card's already found in like spare parts, right? Like you can say that, oh, it's really good in Temple Mage because you activate your Flame Waker and whatnot, but you can just play Mech Mage, right? Maybe the standard format is gonna eliminate those, and we aren't gonna have any more spare parts and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's a 6 mana card, and it's just I don't like it, man. I don't like it. It's not too enticing for me, at least. In Arena, it's a little bit better, I guess. I mean, in Arena, it's kind of like an 8 mana 7/7, and you would play an 8 mana 7/7. You can also play it as like, you know, buff something and make good trades. Once again, in Arena, there's a lot of minion combat, so it's a little bit better, but still not better than your legendaries that you could draft possibly. So I wouldn't say it's too insane. It's like fine when you pair this up against like Millhouse and like what's another bad legendary, like Baron Rivendare or something like that. You'll pick this card. You're happy with it. You're not too excited, but you're happy. So yeah, there you go. Alright, onwards to the class cards. The class card. We have the Mark of Yasharaj for Druid. It's a 2 mana card. Give a minion +2/+2. If it's a beast, draw a card. So it is very similar to Mark of the Wild, obviously. I actually talked about this in the ESPN article. They asked me to kind of give in the thoughts. And my thoughts are pretty straightforward, right? So Mark of Yasharaj is basically the same as Mark of the Wild. You don't get the taunt, but you get to cycle a card. And when you get to cycle a card, it's very interesting because we know there's one card that is played that's cycling and buffs a minion that was always played in every single deck, and that's called Powered Shield, right? There is no deck in Priest that actually ditches Powered Shield because it's so efficient. You get to get the card back, you get to buff something, it gets to trade something well, and the health is actually a big increase, right? For Druids, well, first of all, we're not playing Beasts right now, but with the new expansion and with this card, we're pretty much assuming that there is going to be some new Beasts that are gonna be played in Druid. That and the fact that Blizzard said that we're gonna be nerfing some vanilla cards, like some classic cards like Savage Roar, maybe even like uh Force of Nature, stuff like that. I think this card is actually gonna be pretty good. I'm gonna give it a high rating, a 7 out of 10, because I think combo Druid or the mid range Druid that we know it, it's gonna get nerfed quite hard. And once again, I do predict that Blizzard is gonna give some more beasts support in Druid. And if this card reads give a minion +2/+2 and draw a card, that's actually quite crazy, right? I don't know, like that's insane. You give a minion +2/+2 and draw a card, it's so up there, like in value. The conditional effect could be mitigated by just you playing all the beasts. And we do have a couple of good beasts right now, right? We have Druid the Claw, we have the Savage Combatant, and okay, that's kind of it. So we'll see. Like the Druid the Saber is playable. I'm not really the Druid with the Flame is not too amazing, I guess. Mounted Raptor is playable, for example. Like we have a lot of playable beasts right now. It seems like it just needs a little bit more push, right? And if we get that push, then this card is gonna be insane. In Arena, it's not too exciting. Mark of the Wild is not too exciting. Like you wouldn't really draft Mark of the Wild in the first place, and for it to only target a beast, it's kind of like a bonus because like taunt in Arena when you buff a creature is not too really relevant, and sometimes it is. And same thing happens here, right? If it's a beast, draw a card. Like sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So it's fine. It's still a +2/+2 for 2. You rather play a minion sometimes, so it's a normal card. Okay. The next card we have is a Hunter card, and of course, being a Hunter card, Blizzard is going to go the direction of does not deal damage because we don't want to smork. We want Hunters to be more multi-dimensional, right? Which is never going to happen. But still, we're going to try. Infest is a rainbow-colored spider card, right? There's actually all the rainbow colors there. I guess they're pretty cap pride there. Give your minions a death rattle, add a random beast to your hand. So effectively, you're turning all your minions into web spinner effects. So yeah, the more minions you have, the more web spinners you have, and the more random beasts you can have as a result of that. A card that you can compare to would be Arcane Intellect, right? It's basically draws you cards, but it doesn't draw immediately. It doesn't draw from your deck, it draws from random beasts. And it also scales from the number of minions you have on your board. And because of all these conditions, and because the Hunter game plan is to deal damage to your opponent and kill them, this is going to get a 0 out of 10 in Constructed. You're not going to see this played, because when you get to see this played, even janky Feign Death decks, right? Are not that good because the effect is getting a card in your hand. It doesn't help with tempo, and sometimes you just want to draw more of your cards rather than drawing random beasts. Random beast includes your River Crocolisk and your Bloodfen Raptor and stuff like that. So, to me, this would be the definition of a failfish card. You do not want to play this. It does not synergize your game plan. Hunters already have a hero part that does not affect the board. And you want to build a deck around that sometimes too. So yeah, not impressed. Unless they make like a super beast or something. This is gonna be pretty bad. In Arena, likewise, it's pretty bad. I can't see this being really good. I mean, I guess it's fine. Sometimes you kind of want to draw cards. Sometimes you build a big board. It's kind of like Cult Master in a sense, but no 4/2s. Instead of a 4/2, you don't get anything. You just have to kill your beasts off. It's a little bit better because like. You might get your Savannah Highmanes. You might get your Savage Combatants. You might get some good stuff, right? A random beast sometimes is just good. Jarmonger, for example, is fine. So a little bit better, but still a pretty low grade in Arena. You wouldn't want to prioritize this over like Power Shot or even like Knife Juggler or like any other rare in that spot, really. All right. Next up, another class card. We have the Steward of Darkshire. It's a 3-mana 3/3. Whenever you summon a 1 health minion, give it Divine Shield. So kind of like a reverse Hobgoblin, obviously. Hobgoblin is 1 attack minion, give it +2/+2. This is a Paladin only. But one of the main differences between this card and the Hobgoblin is that it says summon, right? It says summon. The keyword is summon. So it does work with your hero power, first of all. It also works with stuff like Muster for Battle. Even though Muster for Battle is rotate out standard, it still works for Muster for Battle, right? And it also works with your secrets. It works with Get Down, because Get Down is 1 health, and you summon it, so you get a 2/1 Divine Shield. And it works with your Wolf Riders, your it doesn't work with Ardent Squire because it's just double dipping. But like, 1 health minions, they exist. And yeah, Paladins are going to be losing Minibot, they're going to be losing Master of Battle, they're losing a lot of key cards, but this card, oh my god, how good is this card, man? This card is quite nuts. You can see it play. I can see it be playing in aggro, because if you're giving your whole team Divine Shield, it's so hard to remove it, right? If you play in the mid range, suddenly your hero power summons Argent Squires instead. Oh my god, it's crazy. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. Like the power curve of this is so high, because if you kind of rephrase this as a mid range paladin, it basically says Inspire, summon a Argent Squire instead. And we know things about Inspire that are like pretty high up there because of Murloc Knight, right? Like Murloc Knight is a card that if you don't kill, oh my god, you're in for you're just in for a big treat. Obviously, the power level of this is not as high as Murloc Knight, but the fact that it also works with not hero power is insane. You can also play like other just random stuff. Like Aggro Paladins could love this. They play Leper Gnomes, they play Abusive Sergeants, sometimes they play the Charge South Sea Deckhand, So many 1 health minions. Alright? Like, this is insane. This is absolutely just... The value of this card is just so high. And you're not even paying a cost to this card. It's a 3 mana 3/3, right? Like, there is no cost to playing this card. In Arena... Oh, whoops. Okay, that was awkward. Awkward. Okay, it's also a 9 out of 10. I apparently deleted the number or something. It's also a 9 out of 10. Okay. Once again, very, very good. It works with your hero power, and that's actually enough. If you don't draft any, if you don't draft a single 1 health creature, this is still very, very playable, because you play on turn 5, right? You play this, you play a hero power, you summon a 1/1 Divine Shield, very nice. If they don't kill the Steward, you summon another 1/1 Divine Shield. So it's kind of comparable to Silverhand Knight, right? In that, like, the value of this creature comes from the presence, right? It's scary. You cannot leave it alive. Otherwise, it just goes crazy. So yeah, once again, the number's kind of not there, but it is a 9 out of 10 in Arena. I would pick this a lot, along with your outer Peacekeepers and whatnot. Oh, not to mention, in Arena, you can actually get Muster for Battle as well. Oh my god, can you imagine playing this card and then play Muster? Okay, I'm just vomiting from disgust right now. Let's go on to the next card before we just flip our ass. Next card, we have a Priest card. It's called Shadow Word Horror, and Murlocs are very scared of this because they're usually 2 or less attack. I think every single Murloc except for the War Leader is 2 or less attack, right? So yeah, it's kind of spooky. Destroy all minions with 2 or less attack with the very, very awkward cost of 4, right? So it's a 4 mana Mass Shadow Word Pain that's a little bit worse than Shadow Pain, because it's 2 or less attack, right? Very, very hard to use correctly, I believe, in Constructed, at least, because how often do you really want to paint everything with 2 or less attack and want a card to deal with it? You would play like Holy Nova instead, right? Or yeah, you would just play Holy Nova instead. And the fact that there's so many 3 attack creatures and it doesn't work on a lot of stuff makes this a pretty bad card in my opinion. I'm gonna get not really good rating. Sure, you can kind of abuse it in the fact that if you run this card, you never run any cards that have more than that always have more than 3 attacks, so you always target your opponent instead. But not too excited about this card. Even when you face against Zoo, I guess it's facing against Zoo is okay. You can kill like your Brand Bronzebeards and your Dark Peddlers, and there's not gonna be Haunted Creepers or Nerubian Eggs in Constructed for a while, right? So, I still find it very hard to work. I guess I would run Cabal Shadow Priest instead and steal a 2 attack minion, plus get a 4/5 instead of running this card. Super techy. The fact that we're losing Shrinkmeister as well is also very bad, right? Like, you lose Shrinkmeister, and Shrinkmeister is the main combo with this card, so I feel like it's pretty bad. In Arena, oh my god, much better in Arena, because you take AoEs in Arena for sure. And if this card can actually kill 2 creatures, you already get the value off of it, right? You get like a 2-for-1 trade, and that's really strong. You can actually draft Shrinkmeister in Arena, so that makes it a little bit higher curve. And yeah, Paladins are always found, right? This actually kills Minibot plus something else. If this can kill Minibot plus something else, it's actually worth it. So I would definitely draft this in Arena. The first one is very strong, and the second one is a little bit worse. There's like what we call like, um, like the more you draft, the worse it becomes. Like diminishing returns, I guess. That's exactly the word I'm looking for. Like for example, just Shadow Word Death. The more Shadow Word Deaths you have, the worse it becomes, right? Because like your opponent's not gonna have infinite amount of 5 attack minions or more. So yeah, I would draft. The first one's really good. The second one becomes kind of worse, and then the third one you don't want to even think about it. So yeah, the arena's a little bit better. All right, next card we have a warrior weapon, and oh my god, does this look ugly? It's a 5-mana weapon for just a 2 attack weapon and a 2 durability. Now, if you think, if you look at a weapon and you go, if you ask yourself like, when would you play a 5-mana 2/2 weapon? You go like, okay, the text better be very damn good, and the text of this card is Death Rattle. Return this to your hand. In another wording is if you finish using this, you can cast it again, and if you finish this, you can cast it again. So you can have basically it's an unlimited weapon, and that card text is just very very bad. Just not does not. It's just not good, man. The only card I can compare to is Headcrack, where you can like continuously headcrack your opponent for 2 damage, or you can actually trade, I guess. But for 5 mana, oh my god, that it's expensive. 5 mana, you play this, you're just sad. I can only imagine this being playable at like turn 10 or something, where you have to start like dealing damage to your opponent, or like, constantly trading and like getting it back and playing for 5 mana again, constantly trading and playing it back again. But that's also assuming that like, okay, like there's 2 situations, right? If you're against aggro, sure, you get an unlimited weapon you can always use, but you're still taking damage and they're still killing you. You cannot spend 5 mana to play a 2/2 weapon, okay? Against aggro, that's not happening. Okay, how about the reverse situation? What about like more mid-range and control decks? Well, mid-range is kind of the same category. You cannot play a 5 mana 2 to expect to win. And in control decks, how often do you need 2 damage, right? So I feel like in both cases, in all the cases, it just does not make sense. Like this card is just not good. You do not want to just 5 mana, man. I wouldn't even play this for 4 mana. You would want to play War Axe or Despite, or no, Despite's kind of rotated, right? You would play a War Axe, I guess, or even your Arcanite Reapers, and then after it's broken, you don't want to cast a weapon anymore. You want to be casting your Dr. Booms and whatnot, right? Or your 7 mana drops, your 8 mana drops, your Ragnaruses, your Zeras. You don't want to recast this ever. So like, I don't know. The 1 point is for Fatigue Warrior, I guess. Like maybe Fatigue Warrior might want this. I still can't believe it want this. Maybe like the recursive effect is good. Like anything that has a recursive effect, it has to have like a little bit of a siren, right? So yeah, I'll give this the 1 point just in case. But oh man, this is bad. In Arena, oh god, this is just as bad as well. I guess if you're in a top decking mode, this is relevant because you can always play it and always get some value. You can also turn your hero power into... This is effectively getting a hunter hero power too, right? Where you're dealing 2 damage to the face every turn. Sometimes it'll help with racing, but oh my god, I don't want to pick this. God, it's so... Okay, let's just be very disgusted as tentacles, and I do not want tentacles for arms. Let's just keep on going, man. Let's just keep on going. What else do we have? Oh, legendaries. Perfect. Oh my god, a rogue legendary? Zaril Poisoned Mind. It's a Silithid. Or not Silithid, it's a Mantis. Or what is this called again? Klaxi. Yeah, Klaxi is the term I'm looking for. 4 mana, 3/2. Very small body. But it has an interesting effect. It has Battlecry and Death Rattle. Add a random Toxin card to your hand. And you'll be going, what the heck is a Toxin card? Well, here they are. There are 5 Toxin cards. They're basically like spare parts, I guess. You have your Holy Smite from Fire Bloom Toxin. You have your Cantrip. Your King's Blood Toxin just draws a card. You have your Blessing of Might from Thorn Toxin. You have your Shadow Step from your Blood Thistle toxin, and you have your cloaking finicky cloak field from the Fade Leaf toxin. Um, the first thing I would imagine this being is that this is very similar to Toshli. It is a very, 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 very cheap Toshli at 4 mana instead of like 6. The body is kind of low though, it's a 3/2. But you're not playing this as a body, right? You're kind of playing this as like an Arcane Intellect in my opinion. You're playing a 3 mana Arcane Intellect, draw 2 1 mana cards. And with the 1 extra mana, you get a 3/2. Does that make sense? Like, I treat this as an Arcane Intellect plus a Blood Imp. And you're not even getting the negative effect from Blood Imp. So I think this is really good. Not to mention that the 1/1s actually enable combo synergies, right? Like SI7, your Valid Teachers, your Auctioneers, and stuff like that. Very, very strong. Your Edwin Van Cleef, for example. And the effects are not negligible as well, right? Deal 2 damage is pretty good. Draw a card is pretty good. Give a minion plus 2 attack might be the worst one out of the bunch. But, like, it's still burst, right? It's still, like, eviscerate quality, kind of burst damage. Return a friendly minion to your hand. The Shadow Step is kind of okay. With the Shadow Step, you kind of want to play an Auctioneer deck, right? Or maybe, like... Because, like, the thing is, like, Healbot is going to be gone. So the Shadow Step is a little bit worse. You could use it on your Azrax or your Edwin or stuff like that. I mean, you're going to find value out of Blood Thistle Toxin, okay? And of course, Fade Leaf Toxin being one of the better ones too. Stealth is really, really powerful, especially in Constructed. The non-interactiveness is really good. So what do I think about this card in general? I think this card's really good. Oh my god, this just looks really, really good. The fact that you're always gonna get value out of this card is pretty insane, right? You always get a battle cry. Sure, they can silence it in Death Rattle, but do you really want to silence a Death Rattle card like this? No, they don't. So you're pretty much always going to get the 2 cards. And when you play this in Rogue, you are going to be playing a combo deck with this. So this is very, very, very good. Yeah, Rogues are just going to play this and be very happy with it. Yeah, that's what it is. And we have, like, it's so crazy that we have, what's that called? The Tomb Pillager as well. So there's just so many card draw for Rogues that I think Auctioneer is going to make a comeback. In Arena, it's a little bit worse, I guess. In Arena, you might not get the combo cards you need, right? Sometimes it's really hard to draft it. And discovering 2 1 mana cards is fine. I mean, it's okay. It's not the worst in the world. So like a 6 mana 3/2 that deals 2 damage and draws a card. That's pretty good if you look at it that way. But then, sometimes you get the Shadow Step one and it doesn't really do anything. And the Stealth one isn't really too crazy in Arena as well. So not too insane in Arena. You might want more bulkier minions instead of this. So yeah, but you're drafting this against other legendaries. So it should be very clear whether you want this or not, right? When you see a Ragnaros, obviously you pick that. When you see like something like a Lotheb or something like that, you probably pick this instead. Something like that. Alright, good. Wow, Ragnaros has turned to the light side. Ragnaros, Light Lord. It's an 8 mana 8/8 Paladin only card, by the way. Not neutral, because neutral cards in healing is pretty insane. But this is your new anti-Q bot, huh? At the end of your turn, restore 8 health to a damaged friendly character, and that's most likely going to be yourself. So Ragnaros is going to say live insect, and then restore 8 health to your hero, which is actually pretty decent. I think this is actually fine. There's a lot of matchups where healing is fine, and this actually has like a soft taunt, I guess. Your opponent has to kill this, otherwise they just can't win. And imagine this card against like Freeze Mage. Wow. Like, imagine this card against like... Okay, maybe it's not too relevant against a Smork deck. Like Face Shaman or Face a Hunter, for example. You might not have time to cast this, but if you do, oh my god, they just die. Right? They just can't win. Ragnaros just wins the game. And in mid-range matchups, it's actually not bad as well, because, I mean, you do heal it. We don't know what is going to happen to BJ or whatnot. But other than that, this card is fine. This card is, I think it's going to see play. Maybe in mid-range Paladin, not in, like, Temple Paladin, like the Secret Paladin. Secret Paladin is pretty much Temple Paladin, right? Probably not that one. But I think it's gonna be C playing in a little bit of mid range to people to try it out. The most relevant card deck that this is gonna be played in is going to be Murloc Paladin. I think anything can happen because you just want to keep on healing yourself, and this is a heal bot that activates every single time, so they have to kill it. They can't just leave it alive, right? They're not gonna outsmart this card, and the fact that this card can actually attack, right? This is not your normal Ragnaros where it just sits there and does nothing, right? Like this Ragnaros can actually go in and swing his hammer and attack your opponent for 8. So it's not, by no means Lightwell, right? So kind of a double threat, which is nice. In Arena, it's really good. Oh my god, it's an 8 mana 8/8 already, plus an extra effect. That's insane, right? You're playing a fossilized Devil Sword that does something. Even restoring health to your own minions is insane. So in Arena is really, really good. So yeah, I would definitely pick this in Arena. Yeah, that's really it. I just wish this card was in Priest. Oh my god, like Priest never gets healing cards. Like Paladins are always going to be better healers than Priest. I don't know, man. That's just weird. One interesting thing that I see from this card is that you can actually play like 3 Ragnaroses now, right? You can play Ragnaros Light Lord, you can play Ragnaros the Fire Lord, and then you can also turn yourself into Ragnaros. Oh my god! Someone's definitely gonna make that deck and show off their Ragnaros skills. Pretty cool. And that is it! That is it. Thanks for watching the third third card review for Whispers. We're gonna look forward to seeing more cards, and we look forward to seeing more reviews. I guess it's looking like a pretty exciting set so far. That was a pretty good bunch. So yeah, we'll see you guys on the next video. And done. All right, good. So what do you guys think of that? Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Yes. All right, let's load back up Hearthstone first. All right, switching the scenes, and there you go. All right. Amaz, I'm still confused about card revisions. Does Light Lord mean Old Ragnaros is gone? No, Old Ragnaros is still gonna be around, so don't worry about that. Amaz, now the other announcement. Yeah, we're gonna announce the other announcement. Yeah, let's do that. But let me just answer some questions first about the thing. Oh. Okay. Apparently, people don't want to talk about